Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we're going to make this Wildflower split tumbler using some of the vinyls from my latest Gracefully Created pack. This bundle releases at gracefullycreatedccd.com Wednesday the 12th at 10 a.m. CST time. I was so excited to get started on a tumbler with these. I forgot to record the preview of the bundle, so here is a couple of scrap pieces I have left over from making the tumbler, as well as the other decals. We have 3 gorgeous watercolor vinyls, and then we also have 3 element sheets, one of which the windows y'all have been begging me for. We've got a sheet of wildflowers, which is what we use for this tumbler, that has actually 3 decals in the center too, if you want to use those as center point decals. And we have a sheet of pink florals as well. You get 3 decals with this. I did only show 2. I didn't have this quite yet, but there is a giraffe mama and baby, which I love so much, that goes along with this bundle. Alright, so I'm using a 24-ounce plump from the Still Magnolia, and to make sure I have plenty of room up top for my florals, I'm just going to kind of rough measure that, and then the remaining portion on the bottom, I'm going to cut off a strip of one of our watercolor vinyls. Before I add on my vinyl, I am going to spray paint the top portion and the bottom to prep it for our glitter, so I don't have to tape off my vinyl once I have it on. I'm going to use the hinge method, which is trimming off a little piece of that backing, and then I'm going to line it up on the tumbler. Once I have my vinyl straight, then I'm going to press that exposed piece down, work my way around the tumbler while pressing the vinyl down and removing the backing at the same time. Trim directly down the center of your starting and your stopping point. Remove the vinyl over top and underneath. I needed to get this done pretty quickly, so for our glitter application, I'm going to use the full glue from Southern Belle Glitter. It dries incredibly tacky. I've used it multiple times before, and you can immediately spray seal your glitter after application and go into applying your epoxy once that paint is dry. So we're going to give this a generous coat all over the tumbler, just making sure that it's nice and even, and you can get an even coverage using a makeup brush. Once I have all of my glue on, I'm going to dry this up with my heat gun on low setting. So I planned on using a white opal at the top and the bottom of the tumbler, and then peach sangria in the center, but I loved how this looked so much, I actually decided to do the entire tumbler. This is a multi-size mix, and it does have some flakes in it as well, so you'll see me roll the tumbler quite a few times in the excess that has dropped onto my sheet of paper underneath, and that's just so I can really work those chunks of glitter in onto this full glue. Man, this is such a beautiful color. If you don't have peach sangria in your collection, absolutely try to get that. So once we had all of our glitter on, I rolled it up in our sheet of paper. You can also use parchment paper, and flattened out our glitter. I immediately went and sealed this with Rust-Oleum matte just once, since it is just one color. I'm sorry, my voice keeps getting so crackly, y'all. So anyway, I sealed that, and once my spray paint had dried, I did go in with 2 coats of epoxy, sanding in between those layers so it's nice and smooth for our decals. I'm going to cut out one of these wildflower sections, and we're also going to use the hinge method to apply this to the top portion of the tumbler. Rather than cutting a straight seam down these florals, I chose to take my craft knife and cut around one of the last flowers where they overlap, so that it appears as if it is a seamless design rather than have that straight line down the center of a couple of our flowers. Y'all know that I really try to stay away from including holiday specific elements in my bundles. And for this one, my idea, of course, was Mother's Day, or that was the inspiration for the bundle. So I really wanted to go with something that I feel any mom would love to have, but also a bundle that can be used to make some really easy springtime designs. That is why we went with those watercolor vinyls. You can use those as standalone without any glitter on top. You can use those to cut out names or phrases, since they don't have a really busy pattern on them. And you can also wrap an entire tumbler in it, pins, or even keychains. There is so many possibilities with these vinyls. And then go over it with an opal glitter, and it looks like you have a beautiful, very detailed watercolor background. Pop any of these florals on top or one of the decals, and you have a gorgeous tumbler. Make sure you have your decal pressed down really well in all areas, and then I'm going to add on my pinstriping. Again, I'm just going to cut these by hand. You can use your design space or silhouette to cut these strips out. I'm just cutting some various sizes out, starting from largest to smallest, and that's how I'm going to place them on the tumbler. When doing pinstriping like this, do make sure that you have those pressed down very, very well before you add on your epoxy so they don't lift where they meet at the seam. After that, it was ready for our epoxy. If I was going to add on a decal to this, which I am not because I absolutely love it just as it is, I would add a layer of epoxy, then add my decal on, and then 2 layers of epoxy on top of that. I did use my a little extra ink epoxy on the final 2 coats of this one so you can see that gorgeous shine. I just love how this tumbler turned out. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. All materials I have used will be listed in the description with some coupon codes for you. Don't forget this bundle does release April 12th at 10 a.m. CST time, and you can use code BBB10 to save 10% off your order at GRACEFULLYCREATEDCCD.com. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.